And away we go, if it's all okay. Never know if this has to be reloaded or what, or if it just works automatically. Yes, looks like it's up and running. Good morning, good evening, wherever. Maybe English needs some new words that are time independent. What happened to the microphone? Is it off again? It's on my chest. Just a second. It's on my chest. It's marked at normal gain. Testing, testing. What are we having a problem with the microphone? Please let me know some details here. It seems to be okay from this end. Mic is okay. Sounds of worse quality than usual. It's the same mic plugged into the same system and all. What's changed today is the angle of attack here. I've moved the camera. People have been suggesting various things to me here about how to do this thing. And over the past couple of weeks, while I've been streaming, the camera has been out there in front of me, looking back towards my desk, so people see what they would if they were actually visiting my room, sitting here, talking to me. A few people suggested the same thing. They'd rather see the view that I see. And I'm not quite sure if that's perfectly possible, but what I've done today is I've moved the camera here, and it's now looking down over my right shoulder. I'm left-handed. Yeah, 放送始まったよ。今生放送中です。
じゃあ電気消して鍵かけていいんですね。
そう、このハンガークラブの電気そのまま置いておいてくださいですね。それもう一つ、松村さん、プリントパーティーの部屋の窓開けたままにください。昨日閉まったんですから、もう部屋が。
エアコンはターンオフ。
もうエアコンのオフですね。昨日閉まったんですが、この部屋がめちゃくちゃ空気が回らないですから、暑くなったんです。The usual doorbell sounds. The staff are going to be cleaning up in the stairwell and leaving one by one. They're bringing in the flag and stuff. Okay, see you tomorrow. Good night. Thank you. Sorry, it's going to be noisy for a minute or two while they finish cleaning up and getting out of here. So. Quite deeply enough there. That's a nice question. Do I prefer the quiet? Back when I was working in Ome, there was nobody else around. It was just me. In the house all day, there was just me. And it was wonderful. I like my own company, and it's okay. And I'd open the windows, and you can hear the kingfisher outside. And it was wonderful. But I would also, not all day totally silent. I played music, put on BBC radio, stuff like that. I had a good music set up there. Next week, take us on normal schedule?
そうですね。
Thursday,
水曜
Friday?
日も入れたんですけど。
あ、水曜日も。
いや、オードリーさんが入るから、
はい。
普通に木金ですね、私は。
OK。でもオードリーさんがまだ何もできないでしょ？
まあでも多分トレーニングさせたいんじゃない？
オードリーさんだけ？
と。
あ、渋さんとオードリー。OK。
一応リクエストとして水曜日入れたんですけど。
じゃあ来週木金。テイクさんは OK。何もっとやりたいんですか？ Do you want more time?
まあ日によりますね。
For example, when we go downstairs next year, when we go downstairs, there's going to be, we think, lots more time.
もっと入れます。
Okay. Tegu-san, the young girl who's just here just now, she's just finishing up. She's totally bilingual, much, much better than me. She's Japanese, but she was born in America. She's been doing most of the print party hosting recently. So she's really good at that. People really enjoy the parties with her. So. Okay, looks like that little space is done. For those of you who've been watching the past couple of days, I was off the Octopus. I was doing the Kyosai print, the subscription print for December. That's done. I finished it up this morning. Done meaning the key block is done, and it'll now go to our carver in Kobe, young Kawasaki-san. She's working on number 10 right now, and she'll move ahead to number 11, number 12, bit by bit, month by month. So I'm back to my Octopus job, but I'll be off this again too. Where should I go next? Up here, can I? I'll be off this again too because we've got more of the jobs coming up. I have to prepare a print for our gift season, which opens October the 15th. And for the past 2 years in a row, we've failed to come up with a new design for that. We've just been too busy for it. And this year, the staff's all crazy for me. David, if we don't get a new design for that page, we'll lose faith in the people who've been coming back to it every year. So sometime in the next few days, you'll see a new print on my block, on my bench here. And it'll be whatever design we've come up with for this year's gift print. So Then it'd be back to octopus, and then after that it'll be the New Year's card, which looks like it's going to come to my desk this year. So how about this angle? Is this better to see the lines and stuff that I'm carving? I'm trying to see if I can see it myself. I can't. I can't watch and carve at the same time, but I think it allows a better view of the knife going into the wood and what I'm cutting. That other angle was just too steep. Anyway, let me know. Feedback. Okay, let's carve this. Round she goes. I'll get sidetracked. I was trying to answer that question about being alone. I think I said this yesterday, and once all the staff is gone, the doors are closed. It's my favorite part of the day. Don't tell them. But yeah, of course, it's peaceful, quiet work, you know. This is another one of those differences between the carvers and the printers in the old days, and even through into the 20th century. Printers were gregarious, they worked in groups. Carvers frequently worked just by themselves, quite often from their own home. And the nature of the work is different. Some of the carving is extremely detailed, and you can't joke around with it, you know. But the printing work, especially when it's a sort of a lower quality printing work, just bang out 3,000 New Year's cards or something, you know. The guys would chat or whatever while working. And at heart, I'm much more of a carver than a printer, you know, no question about it. And this is kind of our view for Mokuhankan for the future, you know. I am not going to be the head guy in the corner office. That's my job right now. It's my company. I run it. It's my responsibility. But that's not what I'm good at. And all of us now are working to get me away from that part of the job. New manager starts in October. He's supposed to be the 1st. I heard from him today. He's starting on the 2nd. Whatever, can't be helped. It's not like he's going to change everything on the first day anyway. It doesn't matter. It's going to take quite a while to settle him in, you know. First days here, I'm going to tell him just to do nothing. I'm not expecting you to do anything yet. I want you just to watch and listen. Learn who we are, what we're doing. So he's just going to hang out for, I guess, the first month or so, I think, you know. He's probably going to be really eager to get going, and I just relax, just watch. Just came in. Who's going to hang out? Yeah, the new manager. It's Patreon dollars at work. Don't talk about the Patreon logo. It's okay. There's something else I should mention during the course of this evening's broadcast here, Anna. This is not actually a happy day for us here. And if any of you have been looking at our Facebook page for the past hour or so, you might know why. I know I just posted about an hour ago some very, very bad news we received today. I know. And when we opened this place, it's 3 years now. In fact, next month, November, it'll be three years. So we were building it in the fall of 2014. And as part of building it and getting stuff ready, I was trying to do PR as we were building the shop ready. I was trying to, do whatever public relations I could and publicize our shop and get people to know it was going to be here and things like that. And of course, guidebooks. Guidebooks are a real major thing. We're in a tourist area of Tokyo. We're offering a thing that is interesting for visitors, make your own print. So of course I wrote to all the guidebooks, National Geographic, Frommer's, Fodor, Lonely Planet, you name them. I bought the books in a row, got the addresses, sent all the information off. And because we weren't really open yet, it was just talking about a potential thing. I didn't expect many of the guidebooks to do anything. They're interested in looking at new information, but very few guidebooks are going to take a risk at putting a brand new business in their book. We all know what happens to most new businesses. They fail. Certainly they fail in the first couple of years. So if I were a guidebook publisher, I wouldn't touch any business that had been up and running less than, at least 3 years or something. So I didn't expect much, but I sent it out. And some of the guidebook people or their websites or their robots sent back, thank you for sending your information. Don't call us, we'll call you. We may send around, secret shopper, whatever, But basically it was just hands off. All you can do is let them know your information. Well, that's the way most of it worked out, but I in the middle of all that, I got actual contact from the Lonely Planet people. They emailed me to confirm the info that I had sent. And they were interested in the fact that I had mentioned in the information I sent that there was things to do here. It wasn't just shopping or buying, that we did activities. And they wanted to confirm this before they put this into their listing, on their webpage listing and consideration for their books. And they called me like twice to check this. Are you sure people can really do this? There's an actual activity here. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're here for. Go. And they told me at that time, this was the fall of 2014, they said, this looks really good, but we do the Japan guidebooks on a 2-year schedule. They're published in August in odd-numbered years. And this was 2014, so the next one coming up would be published in August 2015. And when I first heard that, I thought, wow, that's great news, but she squashed it. She said, it's already ready for the printer. The pages are laid out, we're already cooked, we're already done. So sorry about this, so whatever for the future. So I was kind of sad about that, but what are you going to do? Anyway, no problem. We hadn't really expected to get attention in our first few months. Zoom by a couple of months, whatever, the book comes out in August 2015, and we are in there. They've done it. They've broken their sort of rule about new businesses. They've put us in the Asakusa section in August 2015, and over the next 2 years, even up to right now, today, somebody came in waving that book. It has brought in hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people. Since that time, one of the managing guys who was responsible for this, he came in and let me know who he was, I think they're usually pretty secret about that, but he came in and let me know who he was. And he did a print party. They paid for it. That's the way they do this. They don't let you give them freebies. They pay for their stuff and whatever. He did a print party, had a good time. He brought a couple of guests with him. We chatted about this and that. I thanked them top to bottom for being in the guidebook. They put us in 3. They put us in the Japan book, the Tokyo book, and then the pocket guide to Tokyo, which is the one that people actually walk around with. And we're in there in the Asakusa section in the 2015 edition. Since then, I kept our listing up to date with them. They have a place on their website where you refresh it and keep it up to date and stuff. It goes forward. Anyway, long story short, I know that it's now August 2017. So a few weeks ago I went to Amazon and lo and behold, there's the new editions coming out. So I put an order in for them. The Japan book, the Tokyo book, and the pocket guide. And they arrived this afternoon. And we're gone. We're not in there. They've dropped us. And this is stupendously, stupendously bad news. Literally, with no exaggeration, hundreds and hundreds of people have come into this shop over the past 2 years with those guidebooks in their hot little hands. Lonely Planet really, really helped us get up and running. And now, for some reason, they've pulled the plug. And we're not there. I'll write to them, I guess, sort of quietly, thanks, or whatever, or, sorry about that you couldn't make room for us this year, and is there anything we can do to sort of get back in 2019 or whatever. And then as I sat there looking at it, I really kicked myself because I perhaps did this to myself. If you check our Facebook page right now, I uploaded these two pictures, a picture of the guidebook page from 2015 and the guidebook page, the new one that was just published, today, this week. I put a side-by-side photograph of the pages. And here's what happened. In the Asakusa section, there were 8 places highlighted. They talked them as, what do they call them? They call them sites in their. So in Asakusa, they had 8 sites, numbered from 1 to 8, things to see in Asakusa. And they were a double page, 2 pages in the book with these 8 sites mentioned. And we were one of those 8. And when the guy was here to do the print party a half a year ago, last spring, whatever, I opened my mouth and I told him, look, there's a couple of mistakes in a few of these listings. And you've got the Asahi Beer Hall listed here, but your description of it is a little bit wrong. I don't know if any of you listeners know the Asahi Beer Hall. It's a sort of a big skyscraper building. Then next to it there's a building with sort of a golden sort of statue thing they call the golden turd or whatever on top of it. And the Lonely Planet description for this described the golden turd as being designed to be looking like foam on a beer glass. And that's actually wrong. Somebody misunderstood. It's the skyscraper, which is done in a golden tint on the windows, except for the top 4 or 5 floors, which are done with a white tint in the windows. And it looks, during the day, like a huge, gigantic stein of beer. But it's the skyscraper, not the turd. So I mentioned this to him. Look, your description there is a bit off. And he looked, oh yeah, okay. And this time they fixed it. In the description for the Asahi building, they fixed it. They mentioned that it's the skyscraper that looks like a stein. And what they've done is they went out and bought a stock photograph of that thing, slapped it on that page, and cut the number of sites down from 8 to 5. And guess who got the axe? Me. Our listing is gone to make room for a picture of an office building that looks like a stein because I reminded the guy of it. I don't know if that's the backstory, but that's what I know about it. And here we are. Here's the result. So somebody please remind me, keep my mouth shut. If someone's looking for a link to the picture, if you jump to my Facebook page, it's Facebook/Mokuhankan. We've got the 2 photographs there side by side. The 2-year-old guidebook and the new guidebook, and we're gone. And this is going to hurt us so much. I can't say it's going to hurt us. I mean, they helped us 2 years ago, and that help has now disappeared. We're okay. We've got YouTube. We've got this and that. We've got our own fans. Kickstarters next week. It's going to help. But God, it was so nice having that help. And they've hurt themselves, That Tokyo guidebook now has next to nothing in the sense of in the activities to do. And we've learned from the people that have come here over the past 3 years now, they are desperate for stuff to do. They ask us, this was great, where can I go to do something else like this? And we keep a list. We've got books, guidebooks here lined up so that we can help people find other stuff to do. And now the Lonely Planet book for Tokyo has, I better keep quiet. Next, I'm not a millionaire. But it's got a real nice picture of a turd. Oh well. Yeah, of course, and not just us, of course. There was 8 and now there's 5, so 3 people are gone. I think they took out the drum museum, which I heard that people were enjoying, and they took out Asakusa Jinja, which makes sense because they had Sensoji Temple in there, and it made no sense to put in Asakusa Shrine, which is of absolutely no interest to visitors whatsoever. There's a little shrine tucked around the side of Sensoji Temple. It's not visually attractive. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing for visitors to see there. So taking that out, I think, made sense. The drum museum, too bad. That was fun. Is fun, whatever. And Mokuhankan is certainly fun. I'm going to write them, but I know exactly what the answer is going to be. It's going to be, Dave, sorry, there's limited space, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. You know. I get it. I get it. You know, you can't buy your way into those things. It's not like Japan. In Japan, the guidebooks are all pay for play. All the guidebooks. We tried to get in those too. We send our information to Japanese guidebooks. And this is funny. The Western guidebooks, as I said, ignore us or send back a notice saying, well, we'll check on you, we'll have a look, just you sit there and wait. Because you can't buy yourself into Lonely Planet or the National Geographic Guidebook or whatever, of course. So we sent the info to the Japanese guidebooks too, and you know what, dude? They send around an advertising sales representative with a price list. No joke. That's the way the whole business works here in Japan for tourist guides. And we've chatted to other people, you know, here in the street and in the tourist business about this, and they're astonished when I tell them, look, you can't get into a Western guidebook, at least not at my level of knowledge about this. You can't get in by paying. Because if somebody had heard, if news started to get out that people were paying for placements in stuff like Lonely Planet, it'd destroy them. And these guys were astonished. No way, of course they pay to get in there. What are you talking about? And I'm like, well, no, that's not the way it works. You know, there is a level of ethics here, you know. But not in Japan. You see somebody in a guidebook, they're in there because they paid to get in there. It's just accepted as a normal way of business. It's not even seen as being anything strange or unethical. Actually, there's another one too, related to travel information in Japan here. I know if any of you are flying in September on ANA, what's it called? All Nippon Airways. We're in their in-flight entertainment system for the month of September. This is courtesy NHK. One of the programs that we've did with NHK has been resold. I don't get any royalties for it. Doesn't matter, I'm not asking for any. But that recent 2020i program that featured us, Mokuhankan, has been sold to the company that does the in-flight programming for ANA, and we're on the seat backs for all their international flights during September. I don't know what that's going to do, but anyway, every little brick in the wall. One thing we're hearing from people that come here for parties, we ask them, how do you know about us? Where did you find out about us? Stuff like that. We're hearing more and more that people are coming to us from TripAdvisor. That was a surprise to me. We sent them information when we started up, and they made a listing for us. That's it's optional. You just send them info, and they make a listing for you. You make it yourself, and then the reviews start to come in. And we get really good reviews there. But I hadn't seen it as a place where people would discover us. In my thoughts, TripAdvisor had been something like when people are wandering around town, they're outside someplace, they see it, then they'll quickly look it up on TripAdvisor before going in, like a restaurant or whatever, You'd look it up to see what kind of reviews it's getting. And that may be happening too, but excuse me, I'm finding too more and more people are discovering stuff. They go on TripAdvisor to search for stuff to do in Tokyo. And that's helping because we've got great reviews there. We don't get as many as we could do. Yoshimi-san, the girl who runs the cooking class down the street from me, she gets like 5 reviews to every one that I get, but I'm not going to do it the way she does. And TripAdvisor has a program, I don't know the name of it. After somebody comes to your place, if you send TripAdvisor or send their robots or whatever, that person's email address, then TripAdvisor writes to them later on, like enough time after they've gone home, and it says, hey, we heard you've been to, such and such a place. How did you enjoy the visit? Please click here and write a review or whatever. And she does this. She gives TripAdvisor all the emails of the people who have booked with her. I'm sure TripAdvisor is promising up and down privacy policy. We won't blah, 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 I guess, whatever. But I am not going to do that. But what it means is she gets a ton more reviews because people click those links because they had fun at her cooking class. And my staff is, David, send the emails. It doesn't matter, but whatever. If I myself went somewhere and then got an email like that, I would be cheesed off at the attraction for doing that. So I don't want to do that. I'm not sitting here accusing TripAdvisor of doing something bad. They're probably honoring that stuff, but it's just the feeling of it I don't like. Okay, what's next? Excuse me, hope that's not too noisy in the microphone. Okay, should we follow this one? That's a bit small, I think. Let's find something. Here, this one looks good. I can finish this in a reasonable amount of time. Let's just start with a line. You missed the skeletons. I don't know if you were here yesterday, then we swap it out just for a second so you can see what's happened here. Let's put the octopus away just for a moment here. Here's where we got to. Let me zoom out here. Are we right side up, upside down? I can't tell. Let me get that light. That damn magnifying glass light is too strong for my camera here. So there's the yoke edge we got to. All cleaned off. I decided to cut borders around it. I did that this morning on camera. So if you want to see that process, it's on the Twitch. Over here is going to be Jed's picture, which we've received from him. It's the photobomb picture. And this one's now done. The hair, beard came out really nicely, I think. I might have missed one hair, I don't know. That's too dark. I'm going to need some light. I'm sorry. We're trying to work this out. I'm trying to get some, I don't know, settings on the camera that I can, it keeps, what's the word? It keeps washing out when the light's too bright. And it's either going to be a filter or something. Anyway, working on it bit by bit. is borderline too dark for me. You know, I turned down the light because it was shining in the camera, but it's borderline too dark. I gotta boost it just a bit, I'm sorry. If it washes out, I don't know. Got the volume turned a bit too loud there, I wonder. Did you see me jump when that happened? Better turn it down a bit. By the way, Dave, do you reside in the Mokuhankan building during your time away from Ome? Yeah, nothing private there. Yeah, I sleep in the party room. Of course, it's, over a 2-hour commute to get back to my home, the Ome workshop, where it's my home and where all the blocks are stored and where my workshop used to be before we opened this on a business. 2.5 hours if you get the trains all just right. So there's no way I go home. I'll be going back next Tuesday for the first time in, I think, over a month. Yeah, I crash here at Mokuhankan, of course. I don't care. I got a few shirts here. We got a washing machine upstairs. Once we moved upstairs, now the first year we were here, there was nothing. We didn't have access to the 3rd floor, so there was nothing. We had a toilet, but that's all. So I used a nearby public bath. But as soon as we got upstairs, we did a quick renovation, and Aoyama-san, Lee-san, a worker for us, he put in a shower. He and I put in a shower. So now I've got everything I need. There's a place to sleep, there's a washing machine, a shower. We're set to go. So I just crash here I got 3 or 4 shirts and a couple of jeans. I just rotate around. I'm kind of homeless, actually. It's funny, you know. People asked about that, you know. You're away from home all the time. And at this stage in my life now, it doesn't really matter, you know. I don't have stuff. Well, there is. Back at my home, there's like bookshelves and things, but I would never, you know, crack one of those books anymore. There's an LP collection of dust, covered with dust, of course. You know, my life now simply is this place. You know. So yeah, one of my daughters was saying, "You're actually homeless, aren't you?" And yeah, I am, but not in that evil sense, you know. Doesn't matter now, you know. When we had kids in that part of your life, there's a home and a place, but now that's irrelevant, you know. Cool. Chop. That one's too big. That's not going to pop out. Hard piece of... Oh. I did. I broke the tip of the knife. Hee. Okay, let's finish this corner and do some sharpening. Just the faint tip of the knife came off there. It's hardwood. I should have known what was going to happen. Tiny bit too much pressure. Can't be helped. I don't know if you can see it. In fact, I'm sure you can't see it. It's the very... Are we on the camera? The very point has gone. A little, I don't even know, tiny fraction of a millimeter. Actually, what I'll do then, let's do this. We'll make this part of a lecture too. Let's see. I've got, next part for me is dots here. And those dots actually, honestly, don't need a tiny, delicate tip on this knife. So what I'm going to do, let me get my stone ready. I'm going to have to zoom out here. Excuse me just a minute. It's going to take a minute to get these things organized. Here we are. Where are we? I'm here. You're looking up away from my body. The stone actually now is flat in front of me. The bench is sloped towards me. It slopes. The bench slopes, where are my fingers here? Dave. The bench slopes down this way. And the sharpening stone thing, I've got a base built on it, so it's got a foot and no foot. So it goes on the bench, and now the stone is actually flat in front of me. And this is the third of the stones. I have a rough one, a medium one, and a fine one. And this is not broken enough to require the rough stone. At least not the way I'm going to sharpen it right now. Let me get some mud ready. This is the Nagara stone, a soft stone that crumbles, and as soon as you put water on it and rub it around, you can see it's making mud, and it's that mud. Okay, what I'm going to do here, I don't know if you can see this. My God, what can we see? The tip of the knife is broken, but instead of sharpening the bevel now right from zero to make a whole new blade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the back side of the blade, I'm going to knock it this way. Get that? It's the tip that's missing up here, and I'm going to knock off where the tip would be, so it forms a new tip. The stuff you're trying to explain without being able to draw a diagram. I'm on the back, the heel of the blade. This is where I would sharpen. I don't know how to explain this. We're done. The tip is back. So the part that was broken off, I've now knocked it back this way to make a temporary new tip to cut those dots. And then next time I come back, I'll go back to the stronger stone and shape the whole bevel again. Here's the dots. Zoom back in. Just a minute here, get it set. Bring in the lens. I don't know if that made any sense, you know, these things trying to explain in words with a wide open camera. Maybe we can see it here. Can we see this or not? Maybe you can see it now, actually. Let's try and explain that again. So what had happened was the blade a minute ago was up like a triangular shape, and the tiny little part at the top broke off, leaving a flat across the tip. So normally we go back to the sharpening stone, sharpen the whole thing, cut away all this metal back until it formed a new tip. But what I did was, just to short circuit this process and give me another 10 minutes free, is I put a bevel here. I sharpened that on the stone, which took away the broken part and just gave me a new fake tip, just for a couple of minutes. Sensible or not, I don't know. Anyway, here we go. This is more than enough to do these dots, which doesn't need a delicate edge at all. But just perfect timing, actually. And these are just the right distance apart, cutting one side of one dot. When you come and clear it off, you're cutting the other side of a nearby dot. Perfect. So exactly, it's not as an acute of an angle. So if I was trying to carve little tiny circles or something, I wouldn't be able to do this. That's exactly right. If you try and do this once or then twice, you've buggered up your angle. It's no longer as acute, and you can't go around corners. So if this had happened this morning while I was trying to draw those straight lines, I was trying to cut those straight lines, it would have meant no difference at all. I could have just continued with the broken knife and cut those lines. But if you're going to go around corners, you can't do this. You're dead in the water. Very nice. Perceptive comment. Who's that? If I'd had a Twitch stream like this to watch 40 years ago, my God, where would I be now, you know? This is actually such a cool thing that's happening, you know, information like this. The Japanese guys here, it's not that they're secretive. I get people making comments about this all the time. Why are they so secretive? They just don't think about it. It's okay. It's not their job to broadcast this information, you know. So they don't do it out of any racist sense or keep the foreigners out or anything. They just don't think of it and wouldn't know how to do it and wouldn't care. I've just got the particular right combination that has resulted in all this information getting out there. Also, some of you have probably noticed, I've been on Twitch now longer than 14 days, so the oldest streams are gone. They're gone from here. I've got everything on a hard drive. And actually, we started last night. We started to pick out some of the highlight stuff. So I'm going to try and get to that if I can. And the idea is this, that once every X time period, it won't be every week, every month or something, I don't know, once every X time period, there'll be an upload to my YouTube channel, Twitch highlights from the past X time period. I think that's the way to handle this. And people that want to watch the streams, go ahead and watch the streams. Certainly not everybody who's our YouTube viewers are going to want to do this, sit here and do this. But if we can pick highlights, little 5-minute spots or something, maybe like that sharpening episode or something like that, bundle them together. Those go up on YouTube. They're preserved. That's the current thinking and how we're going to handle this. But at the moment, everything's here on my drive. All that's left to do is find time to make a highlight reel now and then. What's that comment? Glad you stream on Twitch. My life has changed for the better. Hey, so is mine. So is mine. I know. I mean, it's keeping me at the bench. As I described earlier, a week or so ago, whatever. The life here is changing for me with the new staff coming in and the new manager and whatever. But still, there are so many things screaming for my attention here. Every morning I get up and I got this list. Where is it? Here's today's list. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 things on it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 I've got done, 4 haven't. But because we're streaming now, what's happening is I ignore that list and come and do my carving work. So I'm so much more productive this last couple of weeks, than I have been for a year. And it's just because of this, not the deadline, what's the word? This schedule. So it's been a real help for me in arranging the priorities, Oh, you're upstairs all the time.
Yeah, we've just finished it.
Thank you for helping her. Wonderful. Thank you. It's funny, I saw an image the other day. It was a joke image I saw somewhere. It's an office in America. And there was a coffee cup on somebody's desk, coffee mug. You know how they make those joke coffee mugs that have messages and stuff written on them, And I forget the exact wording, but the message says, don't make your problem my problem. Like this girl at this desk has this mug on her. She doesn't want her co-workers to come and share her stuff, And when I saw that, I thought, Jesus, can you imagine if we did it this way? Today, Sugu-san's trying to get that thing finished. You're trying to go home, but what do? Help her, It's common sense. Thank you very much. But no coffee mugs like that. Don't make your problem my problem. They were serious. It was something. I think there's stuff like that, shunga type mugs, right? Something like that. You put hot water in and the image changes, or the clothes fall off the woman or something. I think such things exist. You do know you're live, right? People are watching you put your shoes on. Is that okay? Well, we're live, and there's you know how this works? Did you see it last week? The two cameras?
あれカメラどこだ
There's one camera here showing the block. Look, this is what the people are seeing.
こっちも映ってる
But no, they can't see you because there's your head. Look, here's your head poking up. So don't worry. No, no.
ちょっと恥ずかしい
I wouldn't have let it go that far. Relax. So there you are. You're popped up. This is, for those of you who don't know, this is Teiko-san. It wasn't Shiba-san. That was Wednesday. This is Teiko-san. She's signing off.
じゃあそろそろ
All right.
また来週
Okay, see you next week.
バイバイ
Good night. Bye-bye. You're back.
そして靴を脱ぐのがめんどくさい
What do you need? Can I reach it?
大丈
Are you going upstairs?
夫ちょっとごめん
You are so Japanese. Obviously, your Japanese side is stronger than your American side. Tatami.
じゃあね
Good night again. Okay. That's really funny. I don't know. You couldn't see what happened there. We're in a room here with tatami mats. It's sometimes really inconvenient because to get up to the third floor, which is an open, it's not tatami, it's wooden floors and stuff. So the shop here is a shoes zone. The third floor is open floor and it's a shoes zone. We do wood planing and work up there. We can't use bare feet. But to get between the two, you have to go through this room, which is tatami mats. And they're a little bit older, a little bit beaten up. This is not like a delicate environment. But we take our shoes off for them, of course, because we're trained here. So she tries to go home. She's forgotten something that's over there. She's already got her boots on. They're all laced up. So there's the test. She comes to the door here, and it really wouldn't matter. They're dirty old tatami. It wouldn't matter, actually, but she couldn't do it. She came into the room on her hands and knees, keeping her feet up in the air. And went across to get her stuff that she'd forgotten. Because the cultural training, you cannot step on tatami. No matter how dirty and beaten up they are in your shoes. And she would say, of course you can't. And I got to add one tiny thing to that. I've done the same thing. I've come back here or something, locked up, come back up, realized I've left something upstairs. I got my shoes on. Nobody else in the building. The tatami's dirty. Nobody would know what I've done. I can't do it. I can't walk on this tatami in shoes, you know. So clearly I've been here too long. Isn't that what they say, you know? You know you've been somewhere too long when such and such, you know. When you can't walk on tatami in your shoes, even when nobody's watching. This broken knife, and it's not broken, but this resharpened knife, the kind of lines we're carving here now, absolutely no problem. The lack of an acute angle isn't a problem, it's a feature, it's not a bug for lines like this. Helps the blade stay moving straight. Sugi-san, ready?
はいお待た
大
せしました
変お疲れ様でした。遅くなりまして申し訳ない
いやい
です。
や一日がかりで結構もう今年分の本要項はもう
OK、ありがとうございました。あゆみさんもラッキーですね。そう、石川さんも。
結構ね座りっぱなし
石川さんもよく使うんでしょ？
ああそう
本要項。
こはね使います使います
今ちょっと今生放送でしょ？
あ生放送中？
そう、今放送中。
そうだったんだ。
そう、そう。
ああ本当だ。
This is Suga-san, for those of you who don't know. She's one of the printers upstairs, and she spent the whole day today doing, I don't know, what's the word? Doing workshop work. Normally they get paid by the prints. The prints they get made, they get paid for. But every now and then there's work that needs doing that's not related to that. So she spent the whole day today preparing pigment. So how do we pay them? Of course, they wouldn't get paid normally, but because it's work done for the entire workshop, she writes it on a timesheet, and they get paid by the hour for this sort of stuff. And it didn't get done in time, so Teiko-san went up there to help her instead of going home to her waiting dinner. I'm so happy that you guys are this. Oh, thank you very much. Good. 次
は月曜日に行きます。
冷凍庫に入れた。
OK です。
Okay, so I'll just follow the pattern.
じゃあ月曜日またお願いします。
So have a good weekend.
Good
night. Thank you. Am I on camera? I've moved this around so much. I'm okay. They're good kids, I'm happy. They're good kids. I guess it works like that. You treat people fairly, try and keep a happy environment in the place. They're not getting paid maybe as much as everybody would like, but they're getting paid fairly. They know how it's being distributed, And they can all see the worksheets. They know how much everybody else is getting paid and what for. And they're a little bit sort of mentally signed on to the kind of future thing we're trying to build here. So in as far as I can tell, they seem to be pretty happy, Okay, what's next? I need something that I can carve with this. Here, let's do this part, just some dots. Dave would be a dream boss. Yes, absolutely, Absolutely. I'm good at some stuff and I'm bad at some stuff. I'm a good guy at some things and maybe I'm not such a good guy at some things. But on this one, we're really trying to do something. We're really trying to do it. It's difficult sometimes, And we've talked about this before. As a non-Japanese boss, as a gaijin boss here, there's some real paradoxes with running a business, When you hear about, business X going over to a different country and trying to open up, for example, whatever, American companies trying to open in Japan or China or whatever, and you hear sort of about the warning, they're supposed to adapt their business practices to the local culture, that sort of a thing, right? When in Rome, blah, blah, blah. But as I've talked about this before, typical Japanese business practices, I don't really sign on to those things. The people sign on to be a company slave. Really, that really is true, So there's some Japanese business practices that we don't want to be part of our own business practice. But you end up being in this funny in between where they don't know what rules to follow, But that one, the no overtime rule, we've pretty much gotten nailed down. She stayed late tonight. What time is it now? She was late tonight about an hour beyond what she would normally go home. But there was a specific, absolute chore that she had started that needed to be finished. It's a measurable task. It wasn't just hanging around till somebody else turns off their light and goes home. It was a specifically understandable task. And it'll go on her timesheet. She'll get paid for it, of course, clearly. But and it wasn't a precedent. It's not a creep where overtime creeps up bit by bit by bit. There's only one overtime person here. And that's the problem too, you know. Aoyama-san, he's a good guy. He keeps trying to stay. You know, he sees me doing stuff and he says, I gotta, you know, get that work going or whatever. And I end up having to kick the guy out of here, you know. And he's a bit resentful of that because he wants to feel like he's important here and needed here, and he sort of feels like a bit of a manager. And I don't want him to stay. He's got a family at home, kids. And he understands intellectually what I'm trying to do, but his whole life training says, Dave's still working, I can't go home, I gotta do this, you know. So he's a bit mixed up on that stuff, you know. You see these dots, you know, these are not like original artist dots. These were carved by the carver who did this the first time around, you know. And you can sometimes pick up what looks to be discernible patterns. It was 4 dots in a row there, sort of the same triangular shape, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can guess he did that, dot, moving along that row. So I'm going to follow him. Now, it's an important point. There are these reproductions we make. We're not reproducing the artist's design. We're reproducing what woodblock printmakers made of his design back in 1884. It's a different kind of work than what I do with Jed. The work I'm carving for Jed has never been carved before. I'm working on artist's lines. Totally different. Reproductions are reproductions of carved lines. It's been through the big filter once already. Almost every carver working in this field here in the 20th century doesn't even know this. They don't know the difference because they've never had a chance to do original work. Asuka-san, you know, the guy, my friend, the carver, he has so seldom ever had a chance to do original work. And yet, basically, this is almost all I do, with the exception of extra projects like this, the Great Wave, and now this one. I'm not seeing much of what's going on here. I'm sorry, you know. Dave needs some mods. Is somebody mucking around with this thing? So that'll be almost the first time these chats have been pretty much left alone by hard spot there. Look at that. Oh. Come on. Trying to keep quiet here, sorry. We know what time it is, right? Okay, let's finish up this little corner here, and then I've got to head off for dinner. Everybody's getting the broadcast idea here. That's a problem with the lapel mic. So the schedule is going to be, what's today? Today's Friday night. No. Tomorrow morning I'll be back here, no problem. Saturday morning's no problem before the shop opens. But the Saturday evening session, this session tomorrow, I don't know. It's Saturday and the shop is sometimes later in the afternoon is busy. So if I'm not here or I'm not here on time, please cut me some slack. I'll try and be here at 5:30 tomorrow night. But it's the weekend in Asakusa, so if the screen's blank, don't panic. But current thinking is I'll try and do again 2 streams tomorrow. Also, people that have been throwing feedback, whatever, this is a new camera angle today, and I really don't know myself. I'm thinking it's better, but if you have thoughts about this, throw them at me in that email, the Twitch email that's there. That cut nice. This angle is nice, you know. It's technically a broken knife, but for some jobs it works really, really nicely. Nice. It's very satisfying. The smooth lines, you know, after the zigzags and dots, and smooth lines are the core of this work, and it's so satisfying. All right, that'll do it. I am officially now hungry. Coming together. Okay, thanks very much. Thanks for watching. As I said, tomorrow I'm going to try and do a full schedule. Certainly have a stream in the morning, and I hope to have a stream in the afternoon, in the evening. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow, if I can find my broadcasting software. Monitor number 9. Good night for now. Thank you.